Hey y'all, it's Holly. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my single parenting series. Today is video number 2 in my single parenting series. So what I want to talk about today is going to be the positives of being a single parent. And I want to talk about this and I really want to elaborate and touch on this because I feel like this is not something by any means that people tend to point out or talk about. And I feel like people focus so heavily on the negatives of being a single parent that they fail to recognize the positives of being a single parent. And so I'm here today to share with you from my personal experience. I did not do any research online or look up necessarily other people's experiences. I do have my best friend of over half my life is a single mom too, and so some of this has been her experience as well. And I do also have a few other single parent friends that can definitely relate to what I'm going to be sharing with you. And so I really feel like this can hopefully help somebody out there. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into my points. So focusing on the positive points of being a single parent. Firstly, priorities. So it really helps you to prioritize and focus on what matters the most because of the fact that you don't have as much time as someone that does not have kids, especially if your kids are young. But even if they're older, it's kind of like you run into different problems. And so I'm not there yet. My kids are 3 and 7. And so a lot of what I deal with is more like sleep deprivation, just so busy, rambunctious children, house being a mess, things of that nature. When they get older, it's kind of some different things that you deal with there. But prioritizing, as in, from my personal experience, this looks like if I have a break from the kids, like they're with their dads for, a couple days or the weekend or whatever, I don't know, everybody's different. I don't necessarily relax a whole lot during that time. For me, that's kind of like go time, and I know that's not going to be the same for everyone. But basically what I will do is I will try to kind of balance it out with a little bit of relaxation here and there, but I will mostly focus my attention on working and getting out and doing what I have to do as far as any errands that I have to do that I normally wouldn't be able to take the kids with me to go do. Things of that nature, things that I would normally need a babysitter for, to help me save money so I don't have to pay for a babysitter. Or let's say I do have a babysitter, I'm going to prioritize what has to be done first. And then I guess what I'm saying is that's going to prevent me from saying, okay, I just want to sit here and watch movies, or I just want to lay around, or I just want to kind of like scroll through my phone, things of that nature, which I don't do those things anyway. You guys know if you watch my videos that I actually don't watch TV. I do watch movies when I can, but they're usually broken up into segments. But long story short, it does help you to prioritize, and to also prioritize not just physically with your everyday life, but with your finances. And I think a lot of people have a misconception that being a single parent means that you're short on money and that you're broke all the time, and that's actually not necessarily true. From my experience, I haven't really necessarily experienced that too much. It depends on a lot of different circumstances. I also live a very simplistic life. I live in a very modest apartment in a fairly rural suburban area, and I'm also down here in Texas where the cost of living is lower, and so what I pay for rent is considerably lower than what most people pay for rent or their mortgage. And so that's just one thing, but there are so many things. I do a lot of thrift shopping. I do purchase a lot of stuff on Amazon, but to make a long story short, I'm really good with money. But this does really help you, being a single parent does really help you to prioritize physically and financially, and I could elaborate on that, but you kind of get what I mean, so you can kind of make your own story with that. So secondly, now this is going to look different for everyone as well. This all will look different for everyone, but being a single parent helps you to take care of yourself better. And you wouldn't think this would be true. And for some people, this isn't true. For me, this is very true. But I know for me, I take much better care of myself as a single parent than I did before I was a parent or a single parent. And the reason for this is simply because I realize that if I go down, it's kind of like who's going to take care of them. And so I mentioned in my last video, I have a lot more help and support for my younger son, because he has a lot more family on his dad's side that's a lot more family oriented than is with mine. If I get really sick or something happens to me and I become, something bad happens to me, whatever that may be, severe illness, chronic illness, whatever, even if it's just something like chronic pain, like let's say, I pull a muscle or whatever, I don't necessarily have anyone that can help me take care of my older son. And now that he's older, of course, it's easier, but I certainly don't like the thought of feeling like I wouldn't have anyone to help me with him should something like that happen on a physical level, but also on a mental level. So I definitely do the best I can to take care of my body and my mind. I definitely take care of my body more than I take care of my mind, but I think most of us do. And so that means different things for each person. So staying hydrated, eating a healthy diet, supplementing properly, doing what's right for your body, meditating, taking cat naps if you need to when you can, things of that nature, and just exercising, yoga, whatever it is you feel you need to do, taking 5-10 minutes to read out of a book during the day, doing whatever you need to do to care for yourself is so important. And so I definitely prioritize that. So being a single parent will help you prioritize and like your health and your well-being, because you realize that, depending on what level of single parent you are, depending on, is the other parent in the picture at all? Is the other parent involved? To what extent are they involved? Etc. These are all going to be very important things. And so, so that's always been a thing for me. It's been a huge thing. When my oldest son was 6 months old, I broke a bone in my foot, and I was doing ballet. It's a long story, but it was really unfortunate because at that point in time, I had very, very little support outside of having a babysitter for work, but that was all I had. And at that time, my son was only going to his dad's, I think it was a little over 24 hours every other week, every 2 weeks. It was very minimal. And I just remember what a challenge it was, because when I first broke the foot, I literally could not walk. My mom would not help me. No one would even watch my son, my baby at the time, while I went to urgent care to get an x-ray and figure out what was going on. So when I found out that the foot was broken, of course, I was like, this really sucks. They put me in a boot, and they told me it was going to take a long time to heal, and they tried to refer me to an orthopedic surgeon, which I chose not to go, and still to this day, I'm glad I made that decision not to go, because they would have put pins in my foot, and they would have had me on crutches for 6 to 8 weeks, and I just could not do that. There was no way. So yeah, that was just the way it was. And that was a very hard time for me. And so that is an example of my point. So it's going to vary on the level of a support system that each individual has. So if you're a single parent that has, your parents are really supportive, or you have a brother or a sister that's really supportive, and you know that if something happens to you, that you've got someone you can rely on, you've got family, you've got somebody, then obviously it's going to look a little bit different. But there are single parents out there, such as myself, and some that are even in definitely more dire straits, in which if something happened to them like that, it would be a lot more serious. And so for me, I just remember hobbling around with my child in my carrier, my baby in the carrier, and I could not put weight on my foot for a couple days. Unfortunately, I did start to heal very quickly, but I was literally crawling and scooting for a couple of days, and then I was able to get up and start walking, sort of, with my boot on, and I ended up being able to take my boot off actually after 9 days. I know you're not supposed to do that, but that was what I did, and that was kind of what I had to do at that point in time. And it really is truly amazing how your body and your mind will come in and really just take over the situation when you don't have the resources to. So I always think that's it's very spiritual, and for me that was a very supernatural experience actually. Anyways, I hope that that helps. So the next thing is being a single parent helps you to weed out people that should not be in your life, to weed out people who are not good for you. So, as a single parent, you might be in a situation where you can't go out all the time. You might never be able to go out like your friends do, especially if you're young. You might not be able to just go out to the bar and have a drink, or go out to eat with so and so, or do whatever, go on vacation with your friends, this weekend or that. You might not be able to do those things. And so it's really going to help you find out who your friends are, find out who isn't going to be important in your life, because if you can't go do something because you have your kids and the activity is not particularly kid friendly, then if your friend is a good friend, they're going to say something like, okay, well, how about, we just wait until you have a sitter, or how about let's actually plan for an activity where your kids can actually come with us, and maybe we can go to the park, maybe we can have a play date. So that's something to look at too, is community with other single parents, other single moms do it more than dads, but kind of like play dates and things of that nature. And that can kind of help you as well to find support. And there are single parent support groups out there that are really great. I know there are some on Facebook for sure. I think I'm in one or two. I don't really get on Facebook much, especially right now. My account is deactivated due to Facebook detox, but that's aside the point. So definitely helping you to weed through people that are not important, because if you've got friends or so-called friends that are like, hey, drop your kid off, let's go to the bar, let's go get wasted, those are not your real friends. And I just want to point that out there. So, and if you're finding yourself in a position where you're just, your friends don't want to work with you on your being a single parent, and maybe they don't want to be your friend, or they're just giving you a hard time, just not friends for you. So, and there's a lot more to that point as well, but that's all I'm going to say on that right now, is weeding out people, and keeping your circle fairly small is going to help, because if you have a whole bunch of acquaintances or so-called friends that you're having to keep up with all these different relationships, that's just going to be difficult, and that's going to be hard. So I don't recommend that. I recommend just keeping your circle small. It doesn't have to be tiny, but keeping it to where you can easily realistically manage your connections, and making decisions to have supportive people in your circle as well. That's super important. So I have a couple more points. So the next one is, I feel like being a single parent also helps to bring you closer to your child and strengthen your bond with your child or children. So I have two. And so that's just kind of something that's a little bit self-explanatory, and that's something that's hard to explain for each individual person, but every single parent that I've talked to has told me that they feel like being a single parent has really bonded them closer to their child. And I'm not saying that people that are not single parents are not as closely bonded to their children, but I guess what I'm saying is it's a different type of connection, and it's just it's a very spiritual thing. So I'm kind of going to let you guys I'm going to be a little bit open-ended with that. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about primarily is being a single parent simply gives you an excuse a lot of times, an excuse to get out of things. And this can be a good thing or a bad thing. So, I mean, obviously this is a bad thing if we're talking about, getting out of work because we just don't feel like going to work, or if we're talking about getting out of a class or something that's important, like an interview or a Zoom meeting, things of that nature. So, but being a single parent, if you have a family gathering to go to, or you have something going on that you really truly don't want to do, like maybe it's a get together with friends or so-called friends or acquaintances or whatever the situation may be, and let's just say you're not feeling up to it, you really don't want to, and let's face it, as a single parent, it's really hard to keep up with stuff like that. And sometimes it's not that you literally don't want to go, it's like you literally feel like you can't, either physically, mentally, exhausted, or both. And so I know with me, that is a huge thing, but being a single parent oftentimes gives you an excuse, and people just simply don't question it. So if you are supposed to meet up with your friends on Sunday for brunch, and you're just not feeling well and you feel like you need to stay in, just tell them the truth. I'm a single parent. This is hard. I've got this going on and this, and people will generally understand, and they won't really necessarily, if they're good people and if they're good for you, they're not going to criticize, and they're not really going to question that. And so, to put it bluntly, having an excuse is another point. so so these are some basic and not so basic positive points about being a single parent. And these are just the ones I'm mentioning. There are more, and it's going to look different for each person. Like I said, I have found that the number one factor, being a single parent, is the number one factor of kind of like what goes on with your experience as a single parent is your support system. And so I don't just mean, is your child in daycare, is your child in school, because that in itself doesn't cut it. Any other single parent would know that that just doesn't cut it. You need more support than that, not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, mentally, on every single level. And so, it's difficult, and some people just kind of try to like seemingly block out everything. Some single parents, I notice, it's kind of like they're just on autopilot. They're very almost like non-reactive, kind of like a robot, because they're having to desensitize themselves because they're in such an intense state of survival mode. And so for me, I tend to get in survival mode a lot myself as well, not nearly as much as I used to. But particularly when my oldest son was very small, I was constantly in survival mode, and I was definitely not like a robot, but I was very much on edge all the time, just completely stressed to the max. Like I would spend the majority of my day in a very adrenaline type of state. And so it was not easy. But anyways, guys, so I do hope that these positive points can help somebody. I feel like, again, like I said in the beginning of this video, that people simply, focus on the negatives of being a single parent. But I want to encourage you today that if you are a single parent, or you're going to be, because that's the thing too, you might be pregnant. And so even if you're going to be a single parent, or maybe you don't know, maybe one day you're going to end up a single parent, maybe you don't know it yet, maybe you're thinking about it, maybe you're thinking about a divorce or a separation from your partner, I still feel like this video can help. I still feel like mentioning these positive points can really be of assistance. And also going back to when I mentioned about keeping your circle small and connections, and making sure that kind of weeding through people, that also applies to any prospective dates, anyone that you might be, looking at dating. That's a huge thing too. Anybody that you might be interested in seeing, or starting a relationship with. So that really shows you who they are. Are they willing to help you out with your kids on occasion? Are they willing to step in and help you get your child ready for bed one night? Are they willing to, just so many things. Are they willing to meet you at the park for a little park date? And that's just so important, because the last thing you want is to end up with someone that's not going to understand your priorities, which is your children. And your children always will come first, especially as a single parent. And honestly, they should, no matter what, even if you're not a single parent. So anyways, again, I hope this helps. Let me see if there's anything else I want to add. I don't think so. I think that's about it for now. But as you can see, there are quite a few positive things actually about being a single parent. So I will see you guys in our next video. And the next video on the single parent series might be, it might be next week before I post that. But you can be looking forward to it. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next video.